So, Asmongold's back in the news. I know that's probably not surprising. He seems to get involved in pretty much every different drama that pops up. Something about him just upsets people. But this time, it's not his fault. Another Twitch streamer who goes by Denims is the one to blame. What did she do? Well, she offered thousands of dollars for someone to off Asmongold. At least, that's what Asmon thought. In reality, the clip's cut in such a way where it looks like she's making this offer about Asmongold, but given what she was reacting to, it's entirely possible that she meant to offer the money for the offing of Mark Kern, who goes by Grums on Twitter. Either way, this was a terrible thing for her to do, and it's amazing to me that Twitch hasn't banned her yet, though I expect it's coming, because there's corporate media attention on the situation now. So today, let's talk about it. Firstly, who are these people? Well, let's start with Denims. She's a self-described political streamer and lady who talks about stuff. Basically, she's a discount Hassan grifter. Asmongold, on the other hand, is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, who's famous for being the stereotypical gamer dude. We're talking he lives in a full-on lair and probably has more hours in WoW than he does talking to women. That being said, as much as it's fun to joke about Asmon, he's also a successful businessman and his opinion is highly regarded in the community, just not on Twitter. Grums, or Mark Kern, is a former Blizzard guy who was the team lead on World of Warcraft and a producer on a few other games. He's also somehow become a boiling point in the culture war. You see, this whole situation with Asmon and Denims stems from what Grums has gotten himself into on Twitter. He's fighting on the front lines of the culture war, most recently and notably talking about the game Stellar Blade. Now, I made a video on the Stellar Blade drama a little while back, but basically the game journos were mad that the main character, Eve, is attractive. Grums was one of the people who called that out, and since he's got a large following, he accidentally reignited the culture war by bringing so many eyes to the situation. It got so bad that IGN had to apologize for their terrible takes on the whole thing. Then, when the game came out, promising an uncensored release, only to censor the game, Grums has been big to call that out as well. But what does all that have to do with Asmon and Denims? Well, to be honest, Grums' takes on the culture war issues are kind of the least offensive opinions to possibly have, but somehow he still manages to make people irrationally angry at him. When he pointed out the censorship in the released version of Stellar Blade, one of the people who got lost in the sauce was a guy who went by Tone Man on Twitter. Tone Man had tweeted out saying, "20k to anyone who makes this dipshit disappear," which is offering money for someone to off Grums. Now, not only is that taking a pointless culture war issue way too far, it's also a blatantly illegal thing to do, which I guess he found out since he completely nuked his entire internet presence to try and avoid the consequences of his actions. Anyway, Asmon reacted to Tone Man's tweet about Grums, and in the clip, she's watching Asmon's video, where he reacted to Tone Man's response to Grums' tweet. I know it's annoyingly hard to follow. Anyway, here's what she said.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30k to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. Okay, you have to do both. All right? Because then it's a win-win for me. I get more breast, and I don't have to see that moron on my timeline anymore. So if you think about it,
That's right, she blatantly called for the death of someone live on Twitch and offered to pay an extra 10k over what the original Tone Man tweet had said. Now, not only is that unhinged, illegal, and an insane thing to say, she knows that it is. She knows that what she's saying is not just bannable, but also criminal. That's why she adds the part about breasts, in my opinion. It's kind of like how streamers will sometimes say they're going to break some law or do something and then say, in Minecraft. But instead, she's saying something ridiculous immediately after something heinous, so that she can cover herself by saying, I was clearly joking, no one should take that serious. I mean, I was even joking about breasts at the same time as saying that. Which is, I mean, well played by her, since a lot of people will take that as a valid answer. But it still remains that in reality, it's not. Imagine Asmon had said that about her. Do you think they'd wait over a day before banning him? No. Don't get me started on the issues with Twitch moderation though. It's ridiculous that as I'm recording this, Twitch has done nothing about it. I'm not usually one who likes bans, but when someone explicitly calls for the death of another person on a stream, that's a crime, which goes beyond First Amendment protections, and shouldn't be allowed, in my opinion. Moving on from that, you can probably tell why there's some confusion as to whether she's threatening Asmon or Grums based on that clip, since as she is talking, she no longer has the Grums tweet on screen, just Asmon's face. Personally, I think that given the context, she was talking about Grums. Can't really be entirely sure since she deleted the VOD to try and hide what she had said, but it doesn't matter either way. Even if it was directed at Grums and not Asmon, that doesn't make it any less horrible. You shouldn't just flippantly throw around offing someone, even if we were to be very generous and take the most favorable view for her, and accept that she was was joking. That's still not something you joke about, especially well in front of an audience of impressionable people. But either way, Asmon took it as a threat directed at him, and he wasn't happy about it one bit, as I think is warranted. He went on to send the clip to Twitch and implied that he would possibly be making a police report about the incident, which I think he probably should, because if he had said this about her, there's no doubt in my mind that she'd do anything in her power to make sure he was banned or arrested. That's just how people like her are, in my opinion. Don't give the snake the same treatment that you'd give a rabbit. Anyway, here's what Asmon said.
And no, should put out bounty on Asmon Live. What is this? Oh, I saw this. Somebody linked this to me, obviously. We'll watch this. Here we go.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. Okay, you have to do both. All right? Because then it's a win-win for me.
What a retard.
I get more breast, and I don't have to see that moron on my timeline anymore.
Oh my god.
So if you think about it.
Well, she's so aggressive? Well, it's simple. So how do you deal with a situation like this? It's really easy. I contacted Twitch about it earlier. I sent them the clip, and we'll see what happens. And, you know, maybe after that, I might put in a police report. I'm gonna just wait and see how things play out. This is unhinged. It's completely unhinged. It's totally uncalled for. Yeah, this is like a felony. What is this? She's got me on the screen, and she's saying that. Yeah, so I did see this. I thought it was quite ridiculous. It's actually kind of a surprise. She made a clip saying the cops would laugh at the clip and not take it seriously, Lamau. Well, maybe that's the case. I guess we'll find out.
So it appears that he's taking it seriously, more serious than Denims was when she was just casually threatening someone, at least. I'm not sure what Grums was doing about it, but he did tag the FBI on Twitter, which is objectively a meaningless thing to do, by the way. But both of the people that this could have been directed at are certainly upset about it. It's wild to me that Twitch hasn't done anything about this yet, and that so far the biggest fallout has been that Denims had to private her Twitter so that she wouldn't have to deal with people criticizing her actions. Though weirdly, the UK corporate media seems to have picked up the whole story, and typically once something hits the traditional media, that's when the suits decide that they have to actually respond to something. So I wouldn't be surprised if Twitch takes action soon if they haven't while I was editing this. Side note, I think it's very funny to see that the UK media had to translate the price she offered from 30k to 24,000 British pounds. What do you think about this entire thing? Was the threat directed at Asmon or at Grums? Do you think that she should be banned from Twitch? Do you think that she deserves to face legal consequences? Or was this entire thing blown out of proportion? Let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and God bless you.